Guess what? Today is day 30, which means we are halfway done with our 60-day series for your guide to living free. Now, this is really exciting because there's like all these great things that have happened already and all these great things that we've covered, and we have, so many more great things in front of us. And tonight I wanted to share with you something that crossed my mind today when I was listening to an audiobook. And it was something that they said in this book that, they were talking about our thoughts. And so it was perfect for what, we've been talking about in our series. And what they were saying was, why are we so selective over the things that we wear, the places we go, where we work, what we do, the food we eat? We're so selective in our everyday choices, but it's like when it comes to our thoughts, it's like we throw up our hands and say, oh, well, we have no choice over what we think, which isn't true. We have complete choice over the things that we think. And we may have thoughts that pop in our minds that we don't necessarily know where they come from, but you get to choose whether or not you're going to give that thought any attention. And so I know we've been talking a lot about this, but I just wanted to point that out again and have you look at, why are you so selective in all these other areas of your life and not as selective with your thoughts? And, you do have the choice of what you think and how you feel and how you live your life, which leads me into the next conversation that I wanted to cover. So yesterday we covered a really awesome tool where you get to choose, an empowering way of being that really supports you in your daily activities. So, we were talking about being joyful and adventurous, and romance was the example that we used yesterday. And what I want to look at today is maybe a little bit more hard to grasp, but I want you to really be open to this and really consider what I'm saying. So, there may be circumstances in our lives that we feel like we have absolutely no control over. And while there may be circumstances that aren't necessarily going to change, or, they've already happened, you do get to choose how they make you feel and whether or not you're going to have that certain circumstance continue to hold you back in your life. It's like we use things that happen to us and, people that are in our lives that impact us, we use them as excuses almost, like, oh, well, this is what I have going on in my life, and, that's how it is, and so it's never going to be any different. This is just how it is. Well, that is a disempowering way to look at it, and you do have a choice of how it's going to impact you and how you're going to live your life. And I wanted to share, I have a personal story that I thought would really play to this conversation. So, if any of you know me or have read my story on my website, you'll know that my mother is basically paralyzed with MS. And so my parents, both of them, have struggled with health issues since I was very young. And while that might not seem like that big of a deal, what ended up happening in my early 20s and even through my latter part of my 20s is, every time something would happen with my mom or every time she would get sick, that all these other things that were going on in my life combined with that would really just send me over the edge and completely stress me out. And I always use this as like my story of, my mom's sick and it's so hard and my life is difficult. And I realized, through my own journey and through working with various coaches that was not empowering me and that was not serving me with where I was at in my life. And it wasn't where I wanted to put my energy. Now, today, the circumstances have not changed, and some people could even argue that they're worse. My mom is still paralyzed with MS. There's still health issues in my family. Things aren't, a walk in the park when it comes to those. And sometimes it can be difficult, but there's been a shift in the way that I choose to look at that situation. So now I'm actually able to have a relationship with, my mom and the situation where I handle it much more powerfully and gracefully than I ever did before. And it's because I've chosen the thoughts that go along with that instead of choosing to be essentially the victim in the situation and using that as my story of, my life's so hard. I've given that up. and now my life has taken on a completely new context that's much more empowering and having me move towards the life that I intend to create and that I am creating every day and every moment. So I just wanted to share that with you, because anything that happens in our lives, I know that there's lots of difficult things that happen to us, and we all go through our hard times in our life, but we get to choose if we put our energy on that or if we move forward. And we'll continue looking at various tools to get past some of those things. I know it's way easier said than done, but I just want you to get in that frame of mind that you do get to choose how any situation and any circumstance or anything that's happened in your past, you get to choose how it makes you feel, and if you're going to stay in that area of your life and give it the negative attention, or if you're going to choose to let it go and move forward and powerfully create your life. All right? So I just want you to consider that. Might be something to journal on, and if you haven't been journaling, sit down and spend some time journaling on the things that we've been talking about and the things that have been coming up for you. It's really important to observe the thoughts and the feelings and things that are coming up for you as we go through this series. So just make sure you take time to reflect on that, and as always, give yourself space and room to realize that you're on a journey and that everything is going, as designed. So great work, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night.